That was the only donation. I just read it.
Oh, this is disorienting. I need to close the stream.
Yes, that's not good.
Yeah.
Notice me, senpai. Notice me. Hello, Moliminous Theater. Moliminous Theater. I notice you. So,
So how's it going, Max?
um, I don't know.
Yeah.
What's what do you want?
What do I want?
Yeah.
So this isn't actually what I want, but during your stream with Dr. Lay, you
Yeah.
said something, and I wrote it down because
Okay.
you said streamer world isn't real, but then it becomes more real, and then the real world isn't real anymore.
Yeah.
What do you mean slash how do you feel about this?
In January, it was like, okay, so like Booksmarts said something to Wicked Supreme, and then Stardust watched it, and then Chud Logic, and then Destiny, and then like, oh, BX Bullet doesn't like you, and like, okay, and then Aiko said that you're a rapist, and I'm like, I don't, who the fuck are these people? And then as it keeps happening, and like you start getting paid to engage with these streamers, and like you start liking them and developing relationships with them, or you start hating them or whatever, and then you're like, and suddenly it does matter. It's this like big incestuous. It's like a news cycle. It's like news, but it only affects us. It's like orb of people, but like it's a pretty big orb with a lot of people in it. And then you're like, well, I could just spend all my time in this orb. I could just not think about anything outside of this group of people, and I would have endless emotions, content, stuff to talk about, especially if people in my like, because then like some of my friends start watching streamers, and so like then I can actually talk to people in my real life about like what Wicked Supreme said, you know, and then and like Shaylin, you know, watches and keeps up to date generally, and then and then all of a sudden, you know, Roe v. Wade getting overturned is like kind of far away as like a thing that matters. And I'm like, well, how does this matter to me? What am I going to do? I'll do a panel about it. It just my way of engaging with like the real world,
Your world's getting smaller.
it's getting
The thing,
flipped, because before I was like, who cares what happens in streamer world? There's more important shit. But now I see you could just, the algorithm wants you to do this. It wants you to just plunge your mind into this pit of nothingness, of just like empty social interactions where everybody's like, oh, they said what? Oh my God. And then like YouTube's like, oh my God, you broke the rules. You're suspended for a little bit. Oh God. And it's just like, it just feels like meaningless. But when there's a like a significant, it's your job, or it's entertaining to you, or you have like these strong emotional connections to the people you're watching, it's not meaningless. It's just like a different parallel universe that's lower stakes and like nicer than reality. And it just
have
seems
you ever seen this from the outside?
no, I was like, I don't understand streaming. I don't get why people watch streaming. And I was like, I don't want to do it. I thought about it like a year ago, but I was like, I don't want to do it because I'm gonna say shit I don't mean in the heat of the moment, or like I like to be very careful when I'm constructing my videos to say exactly what I mean in exactly the way I want to say it. And then but then it was like my channel's growing so slow, and it's like it would skyrocket. Also, I like talking to people, and there's a side of me that comes out when I talk to people that you don't really see in my videos. So, and then I got, you know, I was like, do you want to quit your job and just do this, and you can promote your channel at the same time, and it'll be really good for your career. So I'm like, fine. So I saw it from the outside, and then I got sucked into it, and now I'm here
I meant more like
with something else.
you sort of seem to have an intuitive way that you can suss out metatextual aspects of conversation.
Okay.
Uh, I have a similar, or what I presume to be a similar experience with the phenomena that you described about streaming. I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
So when you said it, it was like bright red to me. I couldn't help but bring it up. I see it it's like toxic office culture is a perfect real life example of this.
Yeah, I
It's
definitely have
the
seen it
exact same thing.
as a personal trainer at the gym. That's a place I've seen it a lot where
Yeah.
people's priorities get really weird, but then they're surrounded by other people whose priorities are also really weird, and then there's a element of it being lower stakes, and it's just numbers. It's just like my weight went down, my weight went up, my strength went down, my strength went up, my calories, and it's just like people just OCD reinforcing being obsessive about working out, and it's just kind of nice, and you just escape, and like then real things matter a little less.
Yeah, I think it's culturalization.
Okay.
I think it's like I don't know, this is um there's a book that it reminded me of. If you're interested in it, it's Simulacra and Simulation. I'll just recommend it to you. Um,
Okay.
John Baudrillard. It's sort of about. It's not directly about this. It's a step removed from this. It's like if you take a concept in your mind and you run it through a game of telephone, like as you pass that concept to somebody else through language, it becomes distorted. And the
Yeah.
degree to which it becomes distorted, it loses meaning. It's a good read.
Yeah, yeah. So like an incestuous kind of culture. Um,
It's not
there's
real.
well,
The
yeah,
things you're
because of the
feeling
reason,
aren't real.
because of the reason you just said that our
Yeah.
experiences, the more you only talk to other streamers or talk about other streamers or think about streamers, and the more you live in this world, the messages and things you're hearing about of somebody literally,
Signs. The book calls them signs.
they're literally playing telephone where somebody's watching somebody else watch a stream. Somebody is reacting to somebody, reacting to somebody, reacting to somebody who was reacting to a video of something that somebody made in a reaction to something else. It's a never ending game of telephone, and I think you're that the more distortion there is in your the way you're like making meaning of what's happening, the more removed it is from anything that outsiders can understand. And my whole point of my content is I'm trying to reach out to people, and so I don't want to get trapped in this shit. So this is why I'm trying to spend more time talking to non-streamers, and I'm gonna be doing some in-person interviews and like streams like around Oregon, and just try to break the mold a little bit here because it's freaking me out.
I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah,
I really liked your stream with Dr. Lai.
yeah. But even then, Dr. Lay is, as he said, friends with Dr. Phil, and he's a bit in the
Regardless
social.
of the points made, I liked the tone of it.
No, that's not what I meant. I'm not talking about the
Uh,
points. I'm saying he is media savvy,
uh,
and that he's not totally just like a non-internet person. He's an internet person. He's a professional, but
yeah.
there's a little bit of like media savvy to him, and I think to really throw some cold water on my fears here, I'm gonna need to interview like a dock worker or something, somebody who just like has no fucking clue about any of this and just absolutely doesn't give a shit. And you just look in their eye, and like I think the grandma who came on the abortion panel was a good example of somebody who's like,
Yeah.
well, like what the fuck are you guys talking about? That I think that just feels like it's good for me and good for my content.
This is I'm moving on from that topic. That was just an aside that was uh, interesting.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about Mr. Girlsplaining number 14. You are going to die.
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say, I didn't write this one down. You say something along the lines of, I don't even believe in life.
Okay. Um, the way we conceptualize life as being like an innate special property that some things have doesn't make that much sense to me. Um, so in that video, I said I think of life as like a storm. It's a
Constellations matter.
constellation of matter, and the constellation is the thing that's alive, not the matter itself. So like there's no every part of you that's alive is made up of things that aren't alive. And parts of you can die or be removed without you dying, and your entire all the matter in your body can be replaced without you dying. So the innate property, there's like no innate property of life to any part of you that really is what's making you alive. It's the shape of. Also, you could get exploded in such a way that every individual part of you would still be alive, but you would be dead. Which to me shows that that's the pattern and constellation of that's what you are. Like a storm, so energy and matter goes into a tornado and then comes out of the tornado. The tornado is made up of those things. It's made up of the wind and like leaves and the dirt and whatever is in the tornado and the energy, but it's all constantly coming in and coming out, but the tornado is still there, and that's what you see is the pattern. And I think that's a good metaphor for me to understand. Or not even a metaphor. I think it's literally the same thing, that a living organism is like a storm of matter that rises up and then dissipates. And then it answers the question when people are like, whoa, what happens to my energy and my matter? I must go somewhere when I die. And it's like, no, that's not you. What was you is the storm, and the storm ends, and then you're dead. And it like that's you, and that just disappears. Doesn't go anywhere. A tornado doesn't go somewhere after it's over. It's just over.
I'm curious as to what exactly is the you that you're referring to describing this. Because I agree with the physical take, the physical description of what a person is, that constellations of matter. I think that that's a very apt way to put it,
Okay.
but I don't think it leaves a lot of room, because if it's all purely physical, then
It
what is
is.
this thing that's experiencing? Like I
It's just
can
it's a
I'm
computer. Like,
experiencing.
how is my camera looking? My camera is seeing me, right? Like, it's a brain eyeball system set up. My camera is looking at me. This is hearing me, and then there's wires going to a thing that combines the two, and then there's another wire that's basically talking, and then these are talking. Like, I don't see how it's
Yeah.
any different. It's the same. It's the same. It's just different piece of equipment that bring in information and synthesize it and then output information. That's the same as a person, right? So when you're like, there must be more to it, I was like, no, the camera is seeing me. That doesn't mean there's a special property to it that's beyond the physical. The camera can see me. And some cameras can see you better than a person can. It doesn't mean there's something special or magical happening.
You don't think that the act of experience is what if it was uniquely yours? What if nobody else was experiencing consciousness in the same way that you were, and then
No,
you were
no other
just
computer, no other computer is doing the same thing as mine right now, and no
no,
other
I
brain
just
is
mean
doing
in
the
the
same thing as my
sense,
brain.
so the to for you to have the I'm trying to think of the way to phrase this. Give me a second.
You're saying if I'm the only person experiencing things and everybody else just
Yeah,
looks like they are?
I think therefore I am.
But you are also
The,
thinking, and I think you are, I believe you. I think you are also thinking, and
yeah,
therefore you
no,
also.
there's a presumption in that belief. That's what I was trying
Yeah,
to get at.
yeah, there's an unprovable presumption, but I'm very convinced. I think you think, therefore you are. Because there's no way to prove that you're thinking. And so if I believe that you're thinking, then you exist. That it can't go any further than that. So you also exist if I think you think.
Yeah, I guess your perspective just doesn't it doesn't resonate with me. I don't know. I feel like there's something
More.
inhabiting my meat,
There
I
isn't.
guess.
There isn't. That's just
I think it's
um
connect I don't think it
no, no,
persists
there
after
isn't.
death.
There's nothing inhabiting your meat.
It's just the meat.
It's just meat. If you look
Then
at
how
somebody with
come if
look
a
at somebody
piece of
with a
the meat
look at somebody with a brain injury. You would if there was something inhabiting your meat, wouldn't you be able to stick like a rail spike through your brain and have it not affect you? Well, you can't. Why when you punch a boxer in the jaw, why did they fall asleep? Their experience shuts off. Why is that? Because that's all there is fucking meat. Your
I guess I
consciousness.
think yeah, I the software comes from the computer, but isn't the software somehow different? And the software is just a combination of code, but at what
Yeah.
point does a thing at what point does a thing become so complex
Do you
that
think
we and different that we classify it as different from its individual
we
parts?
don't? Do you think that OBS or Discord or Windows are inhabiting my computer?
Yes.
No, you don't fucking think
They're
that. They're
inhabiting
just
physical
they're
space on the hard drive.
yes, they're not in, but they're not like inhabiting. They're just sitting. They're actually physically there. That information
Yeah, I don't think
is
I no, I
actually
don't think yeah,
physically
I don't think
stored in
that's
the computer.
analogous. I don't think your consciousness is physically located in a single point in your brain.
It is.
So if you could like physically take apart all of the different parts of a brain and pull them out, you could identify which specific part was having a specific thought. And then that, because that thought is material, because everything is physical, that thought has to have a material, it has to have weight to it. You have to be able to identify and like pick it out of a brain. I don't think you can do that.
No, that's not how information is stored. It's like saying because a book, because I mean, the the switches in your brain in a computer that store information, it doesn't gain weight when you add information to your brain or to a computer. You're you're conflating the existence of like a record of information with it has having to weigh something, but that's not true. I don't think a computer weighs more when you install OBS on it.
Does it weigh more? Um,
But it
I
doesn't
don't know.
matter. Like your consciousness
Yeah.
is clearly in like amalgamation of a lot of different processes that are happening.
I guess that's a better phrasing of my question. What do you think consciousness is?
Consciousness is the experience of any process or processes in your brain that you are aware of. It's the
What is
experience
the
of
you? I guess you answered that already.
your.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so if you, I mean, you could just define it as like a test. Anything that you could, like talk about, or describe, or something. Anything that you can bring to the surface of your mind and actually actively think about, I would say, is something that you can become conscious of. Like your brain's making your heart beat, but you're not conscious of that happening. That's not consciousness. The problem with this is that we have this assumption that consciousness is a thing, and when it's really just a catch-all
Yeah.
vague, it's a catch-all vague concept, and then we say it's like the gender guy I was talking to earlier, gender non-binary person. It's like saying identity is a thing, that I just made up. And now define it. How do you define the thing I made up? And it's like, I don't. Consciousness obviously doesn't actually exist.
Well,
It's a
I didn't
catch-all.
make it. You refer to yourself as you.
Yeah.
You're self-aware. You have an ego.
Yeah,
I
but
guess.
you brought up consciousness because you don't want to just be a bag of meat. And so
Yes.
then you introduce the
I
idea of
really don't
like,
want to be.
I
No,
know.
I
So
don't want to be trapped in a bag of meat. I think I am a bag of meat. I think I'm a brain
you're,
trapped in a bag of meat.
you know your brain is part of the meat. But my point is that that concept got introduced to the conversation because you don't want to die. And then because you bring in this like vague, weird, ill-defined concept that you made up because you don't want to die, now you're challenging me to define it. I'm like, well, it's your fucking dumb idea. Why should the fact that I can't define it says something about your dumb idea that doesn't make that much sense. So consciousness is a fine concept to like when like a cat is asleep, it's not conscious. It doesn't know what's going on. That's a great term to use to talk about like cognitive psychology. What's going on in your brain if you're unconscious, nothing that you can really be aware of or control. Great, that's what consciousness is. But then we're conflating that with like a soul. And I'm like, well, I don't think you have a soul. So I don't think you have consciousness in that sense. So then when you start asking about what it is, I'm like, it's nothing. It's just a thing you made up because you don't want to die.
What do you think about the saying, "We all die alone"?
I think it's sad, but true in a sense. Like you, if you're, we all fall asleep alone. Even like you can be aware of like as you're falling asleep, you forget where you are and who you are and how to talk and how to move and like what's going on. And like so when you die, your brain stops working. So all awareness of everything and all ability to do or process anything disappears. Every part of you becomes disconnected from every other part of you. You just become nothing. And that's very it's so you're so alone that you're not even with yourself.
See, I interpret that completely differently. I see it as you, an individual, are the only thing that can experience this aspect, and I think it's nothingness. I think it before you die is or after you die is before you were born. But I
Yeah.
think that it to me it means that your experiencing of death is uniquely yours. It can never be shared with anybody else. You could be in a room completely surrounded by all your loved ones, and they could be guiding you through death, and they could be listening to good music, and you can be happy and all doped up and satisfied. But you're still gonna die alone. And
Okay, but isn't that I mean, don't we all then fuck alone or go on a walk alone if you're with
yeah,
some if you're like isn't everything you
we're
do
all alone all of the time.
okay but then that just
I
that just
feel
becomes
this.
that but that just becomes a tautological truism where you're saying because my brain is separate from somebody else's brain therefore I'm alone, which makes the word alone not mean anything. So then it just feels like you're using the word not because it actually reveals anything about the nature of people, but just because you're sad and you feel lonely. And so this way of looking at things encapsulates something that you're already feeling, which makes me think that you need to be more intimate with people and talk about your feelings more. Because otherwise, why are you using this construction? You can also say we're never alone. You can define it however you want, but there's something about the concept of always being alone or being alone at death that is resonating with you. But maybe it doesn't have to so much. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't. It's an interesting point. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the insight. Is there any that's pretty much all I had to talk about.
Well, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. It's not therapy, by the way.
No.
Oh, he's putting the glasses on. The boundaries
right.
are up.
The boundaries are up. The
The
shades
boundaries
are on.
are up because of my joke.
Yep.
Alright. Well, it was nice to meet you, Max.
You too.
He's peeking out. Alright. I'll get out of here.
All right.
Good night, man.
Good night.